Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be painting up Fresh Citrus Bold Prints, a red rubber background stamp from Hero Arts. I used Bristol Smooth paper and then I heat embossed white embossing powder over it. And then I am using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers and some paintbrushes and some water to paint it out. I'll go over the colors with you because I didn't show the marker names on camera. And then I also end up using the blender pen, the Zig blender, which is number 999, the clear, kind of like the zero Copic. And I actually really like how it works. I, for the longest time, didn't have a blender pen, and I had, for some reason, bought other less expensive ones. And then I don't know why. I think I just couldn't find it, and so I gave up on trying to find it, and then someone had it in stock, so I ended up getting, finally, the Zig blender. And I used that to kind of finish off the background in between all of these images, because the white space was just too much white space. It needed something. And so I'm kind of filling in the dark, and I have a dark and a mid and a light for each of the green and yellow. And I'm kind of just putting in the dark and the mid and maybe the light kind of in the middle of the cut open ones, and then blending that out. And for some of it, it's just a little too wet and I don't want to end up putting my hand on it later. And so I'm picking it up with a tissue, which sometimes will take away some of the color, but I still think it looks good. So for the green colors, going from dark to mid to light, I am using 47, which is May green, and then 41, which is light green, and then 45, which is pale green. So I'm not really sure how the colors work, but 45 was the lightest in this scenario. And then for the yellows, I am using 50, which is just called yellow, and then 51, which is lemon yellow, and then 55, which was pale yellow. And then for these flowers, I am using 21 light carmine, which is the darker one I'm using here, and then 26 light pink to kind of fill out. So here I'm just trying to find all the flowers and get those filled in so that this doesn't take me 8 years to show you. And then eventually the background, I use Tea Rose, which is number 220. So some of these numbers go really high and some of them are like double digits. It just kind of depends. I don't know what it depends on. I don't know the total number of the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers because I have always bought them individually. I've bought handfuls of them from different places, and I actually don't know how many I have. I need to make a chart of some sort so that I can, if I do buy others, I'm not repurchasing. I haven't created a chart for these, but I really want to because I really like using them. Especially on the Bristol Smooth paper, which I have several pads of. They're almost always, I say almost always, but every time I go, those paper pads, the big yellow like sketch or watercolor paper or Bristol Smooth at Michael's are almost always like buy one, get one free, which is awesome. So I need to take advantage of that next time that happens too. But I think I have at least 3 of these. I gave one of them to my aunt-in-law so that she could do some watercoloring. And she didn't have any of the Bristol Smooth paper. So I have a lot of it and I don't use it that often. And the pieces are really big. If you've ever seen the pads, they're huge. I think it's at least 11 by 17, but I feel like it's bigger than that. And they're not in front of me, so. So I kind of just decided, as I started this, I figured I was going to do like half limes, half lemons, and then just make sure that they weren't too next to each other, like too many lemons in one area. And then I realized that I wanted to do these leaves green, and I just stuck with the 2 shades of the greens I was already using rather than find new greens in my stash. And then I realized that there would be a lot of green leaves around the entire area. So after I did, a few more limes, I made the rest lemons because there was going to be a whole lot of green. So I wasn't going to add a ton more limes, if that makes sense. My little girl cat is sleeping next to me on the bed, and she was reaching out to me. Sometimes she's in here when I come into the bedroom to do a voiceover because the sound is, there's a lot less going on in here, but she's almost always sleeping in here, so I get to hang out with her. And if she wakes up, then she needs attention. So here I am, and I'm not trying to do this messily or like I don't care. This is also sped up 3x, 3 times, because I didn't want it to be too much longer than 10 minutes. And I had spent about 33 minutes or so on filming this, with only a couple pauses in between, which you probably didn't even notice. So, I generally, what I was doing was for the whole lemons, I was doing dark to mid to light. And you can actually use these, I've mentioned before, and you probably know if you use them, you can use them without water. You don't have to, they're just watercolor markers, but you can, like on that whole lemon on the mid left that's not done, I could just finish it off with the lightest color, but it can leave a lot of ink that just looks splotchy or unblended if you don't blend it out right. And I like using the water with the paintbrushes, but you don't have to use water, and you can also use the blender brush, the clear one, if you have that in your set. So what I was doing on the whole lemon was coloring in from dark to mid to light, and then filling in the rest of the way with water and kind of blending the whole thing out. And then if there was like a cut open one, I was doing kind of dark on like the half view or split in half view, doing the dark on the rind circle around it, and then the mid kind of on the innards, like the non-triangle portions. And then in the middle, I would put in the lightest, and then eventually just blend it all through with water anyway. I'm trying to picture, I just used the lemon the other day, and the whole inside is yellow. So I thought maybe I was doing something wrong with this, and I'm just laying down a whole tissue to kind of pick up the color. So this is where I was looking at it, and I was like, it needs a background. I don't want to go dark. I was thinking like dark blue, but I was thinking kind of more summery, and I really, really like this tea rose pink, the number 220 that I'm using right now, and it was enough offset from the flowers of a pink. So I was just kind of filling in all of the areas, blending it out with water. I think because there was less ink than I had used on a lemon or a lime, blending it out with water didn't blend it as much as I wanted it to. So you'll see me go in between the water and the blending pen for the rest of this background. But back to the inside of a lemon, I'm pretty sure it's all just yellow. Like I just cut one open the other day, and so I figured it was, lighter yellow on the inside and darker on the outside, but I didn't like Google a lemon or anything. This is pretty basic abstractiness with watercolor, and it's enough of a cute background for a card. I'm really just probably going to cut out of the middle or hold the frame over my favorite part and then cut it out there. And then there's also, when I bought this, I think I also bought another citrus set. I can't remember the brand. I don't think it's also Hero Arts. I did buy, it's another set called Fresh Squeezed, but I can't remember the brand, and I'm not at my desk right now. I think it's called Fresh Squeezed, and that's another awesome set I haven't used yet. This is the first time I inked this up even. But I also bought that other set, Fresh Squeezed, I think, and the dies, and then a woodblock stamp that says, what is it? The lemons Life give you, you're going to squeeze the hell out of those lemons or something like that. It's just a silly sentiment on a wood block. So I figured this could be a background and then I could mount that up in the middle or something like that. So mostly I was using the blender pen, and I'm also wiping it off because I end up picking up some green from the leaves, which I was having trouble with for this whole background. I kept grabbing dark green every now and then. So I'm just wiping off the blender pen on my paper towel to get the color out of it. And it doesn't stain the marker. The color will come out of it. So I was adding a little bit more pink and then blending it out where I was missing some. And that kind of just completes the whole background. I'll probably end up putting this on a card. I'll link my Instagram down below if you want to see what I eventually do with it or follow me. I do lots of giveaways. So that is it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.